what I want to ask you, how did you meet the Clipse?
All right, man. So listen, so I'm gonna circle back around so it all makes sense. So the guy, Lee, I told you that I started going to learn to make music with, he had a group called 100X that was from Philly. And in the 90s, they had put out a bunch of projects. And Rasheed Wallace had got behind them, opened up a studio, opened up $1 million studio for them and whatnot. Those are the guys I learned from. Yeah. So when Gil started rapping, and I was taking him in the studios with me, our manager, my man Tino Brown, wanted to put out a single on Gilly. Yeah. So I took him to Lee, where I learned how to do music, to produce it. So Lee produced a song for Gil. It was called Love for Gilly. It was the first time I played on Pound 99 and whatnot, and my man Lee produced it. So what happened was Gil wound up getting signed to a down south label. He got a solo deal to Suave House Records. They had 8 Ball and MJG at the time, and they signed Gil. And they liked me, so they were trying to sign me too. So what they would do was when they would send Gil to Houston or Atlanta to work, they would send me too, because I would help them structure songs, and they was trying to sign me too. So right around that time, this was 99, they were like, yo, we're gonna send you to Virginia to work with this up-and-coming producer, Pharrell from the Neptunes. Like, he wasn't Pharrell at that time. He had did like Nori joint and like a remix or two, but he hadn't blew yet.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, he did the what joint.
So crazy.
Yeah.
That joint was crazy too.
So we were about to leave to go to Virginia to work with him, and I ran into Lee, who had produced Gil John, who I learned how to do music. Yeah. So he was like, yo, what y'all up to? So I was like, yo, we about to go to Virginia, work with dude Pharrell and shit. He like, dog, that's my cousin. I'm like, what? He like, dog, nigga, that's my cousin. Like cousin, family reunion cousin. Yeah. I'm like, what? He like, man, I'm telling you. So Gil and I fly to Virginia. First time I meet Pharrell and Pusha-T, they came pick us up at the airport. And we in the car riding. And I said to Pharrell, like, man, you got a cousin in Philly named Lee Johnson? He like, man, that's my cousin. Family reunion cousin. I make beats because he got the studio in the crib. Yeah. And we come up to Philly to the family reunion. Right?
Hey, that's crazy. That's close.
So he started making beats.
Because he said I was in the band. Yeah. And I started making beats because I would come to Philly.
Ain't that crazy? I don't think nobody ever knew that.
I come to the family reunion in Philly. Story. And his parents let him turn the garage into a studio.
That's crazy.
That's why I started making beats.
That's crazy.
That's what he told me the first time I met him. So this is so back with the Neptunes, they were still at Chad mom crib and his bedroom, because that's where we went to Chad crib. He had a booth in his bedroom and whatnot. And they didn't know I rapped. They knew I was with Gil. Yeah. So when they put beats on, Gil rap, Pusha rap, and when I start rhyming, they're like, "Oh, big man, you rhyme me nice." So we worked with them for like 2 days, and when we were leaving, Pharrell was like, "Yo, man, I think you hot." He's like, "I don't know if you want to sign with Suave House or not, but I want to rock with you in the future." So I was like, "Man, I'm with it, this, that, and the other." And then we parted ways. That was summer of '99, like August.
Okay.
So fast forward, like 6 months later in December, the Neptunes had produced Philly Most Wanted whole album. Yep. Right? So they came to Philly to shoot one of the videos. So one of my homies called me like, yo, the Clipse and them and Pharrell and them in Philly, they had Most Wanted video shoot out Southwest. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, cool. So when I pull up on them, they're like, yo, I'm like, yo, because I hadn't seen them since August. Pharrell like, yo, everybody out here can rap. Kids, grandma, everybody. Right? He like, yo, it's crazy. And then he was like, yo, man, there's one kid I heard, Rosco P, Coldchain, man, he crazy. I'm like, yo, that's my young guy. I mean, he like, yo, man, I like him. I think he hot. I'm like, cool. So we chop it up at the video shoot and we part ways. And that was it. So I had only met them when I went to Virginia for them 2 days and then seen them at the video shoot. Fast forward, I go to LA and start working with Dr. Dre, like doing writing and shit. And I was signed to Dr. Dre and whatnot. So 2 years later, I come home for New Year's. My brother got out of jail. My brother did 5 years. My brother get out of jail. And I'm almost getting to the part where the initial question. Yeah. So my brother come home after 5 years. I said, yo, let's go out and get some drinks. So we go to, remember when Transit used to be on on Spring Garden? Okay. We go to Transit. So it's like 12:30 at night when we get there. So they want $100 a piece to get in there. So my brother like, yo, man, don't pay $200 for us to get in this joint. It's gonna close at like 2:30, whatever. So right before we could walk off, my man Tariq Wallace walks out. Okay. He like, yo, y'all trying to go in this joint? I got armbands. So he give me and my brother armband. So we was about to turn around and leave.
Yeah.
We walk in. As we going up the steps, Pusha and Pharrell coming down the steps. They happen to come to Philly for a party. So they see me like, yo. I'm like, yo, because I ain't seen them since the video shoot.
Yeah.
So they're like, yo, man, we on now. We got the deal. Pharrell got the label. We working on the album. We just was talking about getting you on a record. It sounded like Cap to me because I hadn't seen him in 2 years. They're like, no, we was just talking about getting you on his record. And it was like, man, is this still your number? And I was like, no, my joint changed. So I gave Pusha my number. And that was a Saturday night. And Monday morning, I got a call from the girl at Star Trek. Like, you booked on such and such flight on Wednesday going to Virginia Beach. I'm like, oh shit, they weren't playing. they weren't playing.
Yeah.
So that Wednesday morning, I wake up. I'm flying down there to get on the album. I don't know what the song sound like I'm gonna be rapping to. I don't know what the beat sound like, nothing. And I was like, man, I don't want to go down here empty-handed, so let me just write something. So I had something to go off of. So I don't know if it's fast or slow. So if I write something mid-tempo, I can speed it up or slow it down depending on what it is. So I wrote like 8 bars. And I was like, all right, that's good enough. So I go get on my flight. I land. Pusha-T come pick me up. So we ride. So I'm like, yo, dog, what the joint sound like? He told my nigga, you're here when we get to the I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, come on, man, because it really put me on the spot.
Yeah.
So we go get something to eat, and then we go to the studio. So when he tell the engineer to pull it up, he pulled up the joint, goddamn. And I'm like, and when I heard that beat, I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, that beat.
I get the rap.
Crazy.
I said, hold on. I get the rap that is beat.
For real, yo,
right?
Yo,
because up until that point, I had worked with a Philly producer, but I hadn't worked with. Well, I had worked with Dr. Dre, but nothing that came out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that was the first time that I got to rock with like a super producer who did it at that level on something that was going to be like a major release and whatnot. So when I go in the booth, I had the 8 bars. So I was like, I listened to the hook and what they were doing. So I was like, let me come up with 4 bars to start the verse off. Yeah. So I put the 4 bars I wrote at the beginning. And then I was like, I need 4 bars to end it. So let me end it out so it's going to the hook, right? So I'm sitting there with it. I'm saying it to myself. I think it's fire. You know what I mean? So I recorded. And as a songwriter, you follow your instincts, but you're not 100% sure if that's it from the rip. When you write on the spot. Sometimes you got time to live with it, and I like this, or I want to change this and whatnot. So they was like, yo, that shit fire. I'm like, yeah. And then there's like Pharrell on his way over. So when he came in and he played it, he just started yelling, like, woo, woo, that joint crazy. And I was like, all right, I guess I did what I was supposed to do. Yeah, so
definitely.
So when I left from there, well, we went to get something to eat, and then Pusha was like, yo, let me play our album for you. We were willing. This is like, it ain't mixed, none of that. So up until that point, everything Pharrell had did was radio sounding joints. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The Clipse album was the first time that he made like dark, hard beats with weird hooks and unorthodox. So I'm listening to it, and I'm like, this shit crazy. Because it didn't sound like anything I had heard up until that point. Yeah. And then when he was like, yo, this is our first single, and he played Grinding. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, I'm hearing it for the first time.
Saying these Jones, everybody said.
And I'm sitting there like, I'm listening to it, right? I'm like, that shit's so left field, but it's fire. So he's like, what you think? I said, dog, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's fire. I don't know if everybody else gonna hear it how I hear it. I hope they do, because it's fire, but it sounds totally different than anything Pharrell was doing. So the album wasn't coming out till later that year. This was like January 2002. The album came out like August, I want to say. So I fly back to LA because I worked with Dre. I was living at LA, worked right with Dre. Yeah. And about June, I'm riding in the car one day and I hear it come on the radio in the middle of the day. I'm like, hold on, it's that song. So I called him. I said, yo, y'all join on? He like, what? I said, dog, it's on the radio in LA. And then from there, Grinding just kind of blew up and whatnot.